right, welcome back. Episode 8. We got a full house today. We're going to jump right into it. Our overview this week's going to be on the Hall of Fame. We're going to recap Richmond, talk about who stood out to us. As always, we'll do our Drop the Green bets, do some Martinsville predictions, and then we'll close some stupid questions. My name's Austin.
My name's Spencer.
My name's Colby.
Let's drop the green.
Floating on a southbound breeze, somewhere between heaven and the tall pine trees. Oh, land, I'm missing you. Guitar playing through the night, it felt pretty good, I'm feeling alright. Good as one for the price of two. It's been a long time gone since the truth's been told, and I've seen my
right back into it. Episode 8, if you can't tell by the hat. Before we get any further, we have Colby here today.
Man, thanks for having me. I had a blast last time we did it. Appreciate y'all having me back.
Most viewed episode, so that's why we got you here.
Thank you to all the fans. Before we get started, I do just want to say I would like to apologize to all the fans. I understand it's Terry LeBontet, not Terry LeBontet. I received hate mail.
You said LeBonnet.
LeBonnet. Yeah, LeBonnet. I received some feedback on that, and I said it that way my entire life, and no one ever corrected me. But God forbid you come on one NASCAR podcast and you say it wrong. When I went to Bristol, your dad wouldn't let it go.
No, that's him.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, thank you for putting me in my place. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. I just had to be on at the same time as you, so you didn't run me through the mud again.
Yeah.
But we'll jump right into it. As you can tell by the hat, it's episode 8. So we'll start with you, Spence. What is your episode 8 edition going to be?
My episode 8 edition this week, it's a tough one. You know, I tried to pick probably the best driver to ever race in a car.
Okay.
And his name is Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch.
KFB.
KFB. Former owner of a truck team. Got large amount of wins in trucks, large amount of wins in Xfinity, 2-time champion, best to ever do it. I believe he is a California boy.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. I was
Close.
West
Same
Coast.
time zone.
Yeah.
You got the time zone right.
It's very close.
It's over there.
Yeah.
But it is I kind of wanted to. Of course, you can go into his career with Joe Gibbs, but if you kind of keep it on the RCR train as the 8 car, he comes into that team, and after kind of what went down between Tyler Reddick and RCR, he comes in there and really hasn't done anything special there. Nothing.
3 wins in the first year.
Yeah, that was big.
Okay. For Kyle Busch, that's nothing special.
I agree. He's kind of fallen off a little bit.
Yeah. He was like 1 race a year the last couple of years at JGR.
Yeah.
We're just picking him apart.
Yeah.
One of the greatest to do it. We're like, yeah.
Probably should be in the Hall of Fame.
He will be.
Yeah, but that's I didn't do too much on him because got busy this week. But I wanted to dedicate this episode to the most hated. Well, that's the most loved.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. So hit on something with that as literally going from Joe Gibbs Racing to the most hated driver, and literally doesn't say anything, doesn't apologize, just flips the team and decides to race for RCR, and everyone gave him a year. He wasn't on their most loved list at that point, but he definitely went off the most hated list. Yeah. And now, after how long has he been there?
A year.
3,
last year was his first
year.
Yeah.
2 years. So in his second year, no one has a quorum at all with Kyle Busch.
And I mean,
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
Like,
you just switch to RCR and switch to Chevy.
Yeah.
And people love you.
People love you.
So
Also, father of Brexton. So let's not forget
Let's not
that.
forget Braxton.
Braxton's better than, what's his name, Keelan?
Keelan. Yeah.
Keelan? Yeah.
Braxton's probably the
Keelan,
future
I
Cup
mean,
champion.
Braxton's running all over him probably, So let's just...
that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
All right. Well,
I'm starting the petition now. Colby is voted off the podcast.
No.
all right. Well, that's a good one. I'm gonna pick the obvious one. I'm wearing the hat. I think Colby's gonna pick.
Yeah.
We'll probably share this one. Dale Jr. So, and we'll just stick to the 8 days, kind of the way you've been doing it too. So that's the number 8 Budweiser car.
Yep.
Iconic. We all know it. So
It's okay.
I'm gonna get into. I can't help myself. I'm gonna give you some history, but I'll be quick. So Dale Jr. has 26 wins.
Yep.
He spent 8 seasons in the number 8 car, and he spent 10 seasons in the 88 car. Out of his 26 wins, 17 of them came in that 8 car.
Mm.
Is that not wild, y'all?
That is wild.
So he spent 2 more years at Hendrick, but 17 of his wins came in the 8 car.
Dang.
So now a lot of that was they had really, really good super speedway stuff.
Yeah.
So he was 2-time Xfinity champion, like you were telling me earlier, 98, 99. So his first full season in Cup was 2000 in the 8 car. It was like a multi-million-dollar deal with Budweiser. It's unheard of at that time. And wins his first season at Texas as a rookie, which now rookies do not win. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But back then, rookies won. Like, if you were good as a rookie, you won.
Rookie of the year meant something
Right.
back
It
then.
did mean something, yeah.
Yeah.
And I should have looked if he got Rookie of the Year that year. I don't know.
He had
You think he did?
Dude, he had to. I don't
sure.
know.
I can't think of who else it would have
let's look
been.
it up.
But, yeah, you look that up, and I'll keep boring everybody. So, let me jump ahead. Some of his big stats, he won 4 races in a row at Talladega.
They called it Junior's Playground.
They did, yeah.
Yes.
They called him
Yes.
the Pied Piper.
What?
The Pied Piper, like if you know that
Pied
old
Piper?
the Pied Piper.
Hyde.
It's like an old story of the children
Okay.
following somebody.
Everybody would follow him
Right,
at
yeah,
Talladega.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank you. Yeah.
I get it.
I appreciate you making me feel like an idiot at first. And
It
then
don't take much to do that.
anyway, so probably, debatably, his best season was 2004 in that number 8 car, and he won 6 wins that season. Won 6 times that season,
Okay.
which is kind of crazy because we kind of think of Dale Jr. in later years were unheard of. He only had 9 wins at Hendrick. He had 6 wins this one season. So that's the famous season. You might remember this, Colby, because you watched growing up. When he won that 4th race at Talladega, they interviewed him in Victory Lane. They're like, 4 in a row, what does that mean to you? He's like, it don't mean shit. Daddy's done one here 10 times. And they fined his ass. 25 because he said shit on TV.
Okay.
25 points, and he was leading the points. Took him out of the lead of the points. He ended up DNFing the next 2 races. Then he wins at Phoenix, but we don't have this format we have now. It wasn't enough. He ended up finishing 5th in points.
Not to interrupt, Matt Kenseth.
That's right.
Won.
That's right, because they were big buddies. But yeah, so 2004, I think that was his best season. A lot of people will say he got screwed out of the championship for that points penalty.
I agree.
But he had 2 DNFs afterwards.
DNFs
too.
are
Yeah, that is,
Yeah.
those matter too.
Those do matter.
But so after that 2004 season, they were so demoralized. He split up with his crew chief, Tony Uri Jr., and things went downhill. Now we all know. So that was 05. He switched. 06 comes around. 2007, middle of 2007, he announces he's leaving his team.
Oof.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leaving
DEI.
Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
Yeah.
And you were watching back then. How big of a deal was that?
That was a big deal. There was an evil witch named Teresa.
That's right.
Did all that?
The Wicked Witch of Charlotte.
Yes. But yeah, there was a big press conference for that, and a lot of people were upset. I don't know if this is true, and I waited until now to ask you about this, but as we all know, he went to the 88 car.
Yep.
I heard he went to the 88 because of fans with tattoos.
That's what he said. He said that on his
Really?
podcast, yeah.
That way they could just add another 8.
Yeah, because he felt so bad. And that was another legitimate complaint is people, you know how crazy people were about
Yes.
NASCAR back then.
Dude, people
I
had
have,
Dale Jr.
I have
tatted.
a family member with a Dale Jr. 8 tattoo.
Really?
Yep.
Did they add the 8, or they're like,
No, she
this
left
is it?
She left it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
and
that.
now it's
Yeah.
retro.
Yeah.
so it probably went up in value,
Yeah,
to
a
be
little
honest.
throwback.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
So yeah, we won't get into the rest of it, but man, it was such a big deal. In that press
Yeah.
conference, I remember he sits down at the press conference, everyone's there, and he like rips the paper off the back of the wall, and it's like Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal.
He did go to the best team he could possibly ever go to.
Yeah.
So,
No, I want to know more about this press conference because nothing like that happens
No,
now.
and
like that's like college. Like you have four
It
hats
was
in
exactly
front of
like
you, and you pick one, and,
people-
then you put one on, and you're like, nah.
yes, it was exactly, and people knew from what I remember, like, and that's back when you had to log on NASCAR.com
yeah.
and like jski.com.
You had the old AOL maybe?
Yes, it was, yeah. It was like, oh, where's Dale Jr.? Well, it was a little after that, but
Yeah. Oh, okay.
but
It wouldn't have, not at my house.
but I
could
remember
talk on
like
the
my
phone,
mom told me, she's like, right now it's between Joe Gibbs and Rick Hendrick, and so and it was huge news. It was huge. I think I compared it to like LeBron leaving. It's probably not a great comparison.
LeBron
but-
leaving Cleveland.
Yeah, probably not a great comparison.
I
'Cause
want
it's
to
not
take
like
my talents to Miami. He said something like that.
he did, yeah. And Dale Jr. said, at the press conference, remember, he's like, this is my best opportunity to win a championship now. Is
Yeah.
to switch to Hendrick, and
Yeah.
it didn't come, but still.
Yeah. I
cool,
mean,
cool
yeah.
guy.
I gotta say those like diecast, those AMP National Guard, like those schemes are still legendary. They're nothing like the Budweiser.
No, there's just something about it. And the Budweiser was so simple, too.
But the thing about the Budweiser is, like, growing up, I had a Dale Jr. diecast, but they couldn't put Budweiser on anything. They had to put Dale Jr. So when I was a real little kid, I always thought Dale Jr. had his actual name on the car. And I was like, man, this guy is so good that he sponsors himself.
like the old video, I had NASCAR Heat 2001, like before all these other heats.
Yeah.
It came out in 2001, and on Dale Jr.'s car, it was like the Budweiser font.
Yeah.
But it said Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
It was crazy.
Because they couldn't market
Because they couldn't,
kids.
yeah, they couldn't put beer.
Just the children.
But
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you
we'll,
learn something new every
yeah,
day.
we'll wrap that up there. Nice and short and sweet. But when we get to episode 88, we'll dive into the kind of what I thought was the downfall, honestly. Dale
Okay.
Jr.
Something to look
really-
forward to. Only 80 to go.
Only 80 to go, yeah.
Tune in.
So we'll get right into our Hall of Fame overview. And I think the three of us have kind of been talking about this for the past couple of weeks for a while. Me and Colby have talked about it too, and I thought it'd be a good overview to do. So kind of what I want to do is I'm going to tell you what the Hall of Fame is, when it
Yes.
started, what's the criteria,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think you two would probably have a pretty good conversation. I'll butt in
Yeah, I'll
as
be right, but
as
yeah.
necessary. So if you get on the NASCAR website for the Hall of Fame, the criteria for the Hall of Fame is somebody with NASCAR accomplishments and contributions to the sport.
Okay.
Boring.
So the other criteria is you have to be in the sport for 10 years, at least, retired for 3. If you're a non-driver, whether that's crew chief, media, whatever, you have to be in the sport for at least 10 years. The third note, which is the most NASCAR note ever, there's special recommendations and it's up to their discretion if you
Yeah.
don't fall into those. So you can all,
Okay.
which I don't know if any of you are surprised by that. That's-
No, it's always up to NASCAR.
it's always up to their discretion. So, in typical NASCAR fashion, they're going to give you rules, and they're going to say, but if we deem it something
Yeah.
to be more special,
Yeah.
our rules are out the window.
Yeah.
So, I tried to write down there, and you can actually see in my notes, I was like writing down the process of how they pick people. I just started crossing it out because it's so confusing. But I know how it is. I'm just gonna read what I wrote down, and we're all gonna be mind fucked by it. So there's a process where 15 names are picked from NASCAR, 10 from a nomination committee, and five from an honors committee. So
Okay.
there's different people on all these committees.
Okay.
So then,
Do you know how large these committees are?
Yes, that's like I didn't want to just overload.
Okay.
But yeah, there's specific numbers to each committee.
Okay.
So we have all these people picking just for the committee. So then a voting panel takes all those names, and they pick 2 people for the modern era, which I think the cutoff is sometime in the 70s, like mid 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 pioneer. So that'd be somebody before.
Way before.
So then, that's how it is now, starting in 2021. So before 2021, they used to just put 5 people in a year,
I remember that.
which is
I remember that.
kind of how we'll get into our conversation of, is it watered down or what? We'll get into that in a minute. But I think they eventually were like, this is getting out of hand. We're running out of people.
Yeah.
There's only so many people. It's not like the NFL where they have 100-man rosters and 30 teams.
53-man rosters, but yeah.
Okay, I'm wearing a NASCAR
knows
hat
ball.
for a reason. Yeah, I know wheel.
Yeah. Gearhead.
So 2010, and I'll just leave y'all with this. 2010 was the first year that they did the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So they're already
Way behind.
50 years or 60 years behind. So the first class, like I said, 5 people. You had Dale Earnhardt Sr., Bill France Jr. and Sr.,
That's okay.
Junior Johnson, Richard Petty.
That's a good class.
I mean, what else are you
Great
going to do?
class.
I think David Pearson should have been in the first class, but that's another story.
Okay.
Before I let y'all get into, I'm going to ask y'all a question. I will say there's some politics. Do either of y'all know who Smokey Yunick is?
No.
So he's one of the best, I promise I won't bore you, but he's one of the best crew chiefs to ever exist way, way back in the day.
Who do you crew chief for?
Everybody.
Okay.
Literally, you know the 13 car in Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
That's based off.
No.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
just
The
lying.
black
The
and
13
gold.
car?
The black and gold car.
The
Yeah.
E car?
No, the black and gold car that Ricky Bobby's dad drove.
Yeah. The
Oh,
car.
yes,
The
yes,
Cougar
yes,
car.
yes.
So
Yes.
that car is based off a car that Smokey Yunick designed.
Dude, that scene is so funny. Sorry. You got a cougar in the
Got a
car?
cougar in the car. Damn, Karen. So anyway, that car is based off a car that Smokey Yunick designed. But anyway, legendary crew chief. They Cars 3. You remember Cars 3?
I do.
You
Nobody
remember
saw
the pickup?
Cars 3.
Yep.
You remember the pickup
Yep.
that Lightning talks to? That's
Yep.
based off Smokey Yunick.
Smokey.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's his name.
yeah, that's his
Okay.
name.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Smokey Yunick and Bill France Sr. butted heads. And butted heads puts it lightly. Like there was bad blood.
Okay.
Smokey Yunick has never been nominated to be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So
Did he win a lot of championships? I don't know anything
yes, I mean he absolutely innovated. I mean,
about it. Okay.
I'll tell you one quick story. So
Okay.
he was really, really good at innovation and cheating, right?
Yeah.
So one time,
Innovating.
innovating, right?
Innovating.
So one time they took one of his cars and they tore it all apart and they're like, "This shit is so illegal." Took the fuel tank out of it, took parts off of it, but the big thing was the fuel tank, right?
Yeah.
And so they took the fuel tank out of it. They're like, "Dude, you're just cheating." And he hops in, turns it on, starts it up, and said, "Well, I guess you didn't check everything," and drives off with no fuel tank in it. And there's stories of him like, so he would put extra fuel on in, which now we hear those stories, but I mean this is way back. He's
Yeah.
the first one to think of it. Or he would have a big fuel tank, and they would measure like how much volume was in it, and he would put a basketball in that fuel tank and fill it up. And after they saw how much fuel was in it, then he'd reach in there and deflate that basketball and then fill it up even more. So just like crazy shit like that. So anyway,
That's cool.
Bill
Crazy
Cranston-
that him and the president of NASCAR butted heads.
I
He's doing
know,
stuff
right?
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wonder why.
So that's just to tell you it's a little bit political. So a couple questions I have for y'all, and I'll let y'all get at it. What should the qualifications be? So I want to hear from each of y'all what do you think the qualifications should be to get in? Because I gave you the 4 words that NASCAR says.
Yeah.
And then do you think it's watered down, or is it even a big deal? It's just a Hall of Fame. So
Okay.
I'll let Colby start because I want to hear Spencer just get pissed off.
So, qualifications. I think there's really 2. I think one, as far as the sport of NASCAR goes, they need to be famous. Hall of Fame. Okay? All right. Listen. They need to be famous, and then on top of that, they have to have some kind of lasting impact on the sport.
Which is a contribution, which is what they say.
Contribution. I think that's fair. So, I'll leave it like this. So, me and Austin had talked about Clint Boyer. We talked about Clint Boyer the other day because me and him were arguing about the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He said, "Well, do you think that Clint Boyer needs to be in the Hall of Fame right now as a driver?"
10
And
wins.
I say
10 wins.
no. But if he stays, hear me out. Listen.
I haven't said a word.
All right. Well, your facial reactions are really ridiculous. They're
for the
ridiculous. Listen. If he stays in the booth for 10 or 15 years and he becomes the voice that people hear on NASCAR on Fox, like Mike Joy, I think Mike Joy needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Listen, Mike Joy has, dude,
Ken Squire's in it.
Dude, he has, when you turn on NASCAR on Fox, you're ready for that voice. Your brain is trained for that voice. It's a comforting thing. Like Darrell Waltrip, man. Boogity, boogity, boogity. I know that was before your time. But listen, because It's someone who makes an impact on the sport long term and helps it progress. If you're going to sit here and argue about wins and championships, you can't say nothing about Dale Jr. in the Cup Series. But the fact that Dale Jr. has done as much as he's done for the sport and advancing the sport is the reason why.
To this day.
To this day, still, and I hate that he's not in the booth. But anyway, that's a side story. But it's someone who progresses the sport, makes a good contribution. I believe that was one of the things. Makes a good contribution and helps it progress. So Clint Boyer as a driver, no. And I really like Clint Boyer quite a bit. Horrible what happened in Missouri. It was late.
I always forget he killed a
But
or a woman.
anyway, I'm not going to go into it. But anyway, anyone who helps the sport in a big, impactful way. Like Mike Joy's been in the booth for 20 years, dude.
Well, yeah. No, he was on before Fox.
Dude,
he was like
that's what I'm saying. Like, he is the voice you think of. Like, someone who makes it big. Now, this is where we might argue. We might be getting to the thing. I don't know.
No, we're fine. Go
But
ahead.
what I was going to say is, like, if you're thinking only champions, whatever. But what about these little one-off champions? Like, they did
Alan
less.
Kowicki, 5 wins but a championship.
They did less to impact the sport than someone like Mike Joy, who won a championship in a year that you can't remember. That is my point.
Are you done?
I'll be quiet. I think I've talked
Yeah,
enough.
you can close with that.
All right.
So that's what you think the contributions,
Omaha.
or that's,
Big, just.
that's what you think the qualifications should be.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Spencer,
yes,
just
yes.
go solely off what you think the qualifications.
I'll be
should
quiet.
The qualifications that Colby just said are the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. No. So the qualifications to get into something called the Hall of Fame, okay? The Hall of Fame. That's where you want to be when you step into the sport of any sport that you're in. You want to be the best that there ever was to do it, right? And that's very hard to do. There's only so many names that everyone knows across any sports. MJ, Michael Jordan, and he's a legend all over the world because of what he did on the basketball court.
Do you think he should be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
He probably will be based on those qualifications. Based on those. No, but he shouldn't. But to me, it does matter what you do outside the sport that helps it, but that should be no consideration for what happens in the Hall of Fame. If you want to have a media Hall of Fame, that these are the guys that are really good at media.
I'm going to need a beer.
In NASCAR, that's fine. What the qualifications should be based off of is how well you perform in the car when you're driving. That's what should be taken into consideration.
So I will say, I'll let you go. It's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Statistics. We have a records book.
Okay.
Are there?
So what you're telling me is there's no statistics in the Hall of Fame? Zero.
So that's the two things that NASCAR accomplishments and contributions to the sport.
Contributions to the sport.
That's the biggest thing, man.
So let me go.
No.
So let me go for because I think I know the answer to this, and then I'll let you go in on him. So if you have 5 wins and a championship, no. If you have 60 wins and no championship,
Yes.
maybe.
No,
Maybe.
I'd say yes.
I'd say yes on both.
No.
If you have a championship, that's a lock.
Again,
You're a champion.
yeah.
There's only so many champions. Between between
You're going to have a big-ass Hall of Fame.
we've had 75. We do, but I'm saying we have 75 years of NASCAR, right? So that's 75 potential champions. Between 3 people, Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, and Jimmy Johnson, there goes 21. There goes 21 right there. Add in people like Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, there's another 8 years. Kelly Yarbrough, there's another 3 years. If you're a champion, that's elite. That's a lock.
Well, I will say this. I do agree with you a little bit on the older people, and the reason why is because they used to actually do the championship off.
Well, I know.
Something that means a little more.
No, I agree.
But the way the playoffs are now, and you can kind of squeeze in a championship,
Right.
I agree. I would say no to that. But back in the day, you had to run so consistent all the time, and it was over overall points.
Yes, I know.
Those
okay,
champions?
but that's a
Yes.
different. Yes, I agree
Yes,
with you.
I
That's a
agree.
different argument.
Yeah.
I think 99% of the time it's been that way. That's been hard to get a championship.
Yeah.
So champion's an automatic lock to me to be in the Hall of Fame.
I see that with the old rules. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
settle with you there, not the new rules.
Now, the other thing I want to ask you, it's the NASCAR Hall of Fame. If you're a truck legend only, should you be in the Hall of Fame?
NASCAR. It's the NASCAR Truck Series. It's where are they supposed to go, Spencer? Where are
Build
they
them a
supposed
Hall of
to
Fame.
go?
Build
Oh,
them.
oh,
Then you're
just
further-
another Hall of Fame.
you're-
Just
so
put
now
up
you're
another
watering-
proper.
now you're
It's
watering
the
down what a Hall of
NASCAR.
Fame
It's
is.
not the Cup Series.
It's already
Hall of Fame.
watered down.
It's not.
It's already watered down. You're
So
letting
who-
Mike
okay.
Joy in there.
No.
Dude, he's been in the booth for 20 years. I know.
You know how bad he is at
Dude,
it?
you understand that he's been in the booth since you were alive. Almost.
I understand that. I understand that.
And then this guy.
Is that actually
this
saying that
guy-
he's good at his job?
Dude, if a job keeps you for 20-something years, you gotta be doing something.
Joe Biden's been in politics for 80 years. Are you about to tell me? Are you about to tell me?
Oh!
Are you about to tell me? I'm just saying.
No,
I'm
no.
just saying. I'm just
No.
saying.
A job like that. A
Longevity-
job like that. Not a
longevity
politician. A job like that where you're the voice. They could go get whoever the heck they want, but they have stayed with Mike Joy. Dude, that means something. Come on, man.
No, it doesn't.
That means something.
He's so cheap.
He has commentated.
He's cheap.
He has commentated and told
He's
and
cheap.
informed NASCAR
Okay.
fans for decades.
That's fair.
That means something to the sport.
But even, okay, so I think,
And then off your statistics, do you think Dale Jr. should be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
I know, that's what, I know. So, so my point, back to my original question is.
Do something.
He said
Hold on. Let me talk. He said it in his dedication. He went to the best chance that he had to win a championship. How many championships did he win with Hendrick?
He didn't win any.
Oh my God! It may
But
be.
you have-
Let me talk, Colby. Maybe because he wasn't good enough. Did you think of that? Did you think of that? Maybe. Just maybe.
Aren't there guys in the NFL Hall of Fame that never won a Super Bowl?
There's gotta be.
I mean,
There's gotta be.
Probably. but I'm.
For sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's
For
gotta
sure.
be a couple.
Okay. Well, that's,
There's a
wow,
lot
we just destroyed
but-
the whole argument Spencer had. That's crazy.
I understand what you're saying. I do. I understand what you're saying, but you also have to think about the fact.
How many
that-
wins did he have? 26.
26.
Six.
But
So
you
what's
also,
your
you
what's
have
your
to
win total?
understand that NASCAR at one point, especially when Dale Earnhardt was driving, not all the races were even televised. Dale Jr. brought a new popular fan base and kind of made the sport very mainstream. That is Hall of Fame worthy. One individual coming in and doing that.
So what if you do the opposite?
drive them away?
Yeah.
The anti-Hall of Fame?
Yeah. So what if you're Chase Elliott in this situation?
Chase Elliott's the most popular driver like Dale Jr. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but he does nothing to advance the sport.
No, he doesn't.
No,
And I
but
think that's-
obviously the majority of fans are going to say
Yes,
that he's the most popular.
I love Chase Elliott. Yeah.
So,
Hey, listen, we're on the same side there. We're
let me,
on the same side
let me go
there.
back. Let me go back before we
Okay.
get off on this tangent. So the
Alright.
original question I asked, and let me give you an example. So Ron Hornaday is a 4-time truck champion.
You should
Okay.
be in the Hall of Fame.
He is in the Hall of Fame.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Spencer doesn't agree with that.
No.
Now, let me.
Silly
I-
goose. You're being a silly
we're-
goose.
We're fighting a losing battle here. Let me give you another situation. So, NASCAR just did, and I already know your answer. So this is more for Colby. Don't have a conniption. NASCAR just did the 75 greatest drivers, right?
Yeah.
They tacked 25 on more to the 50 greatest they did in 98.
Yeah.
Do you think those 75, anybody that's in there that's not in the Hall of Fame, do you think they should go to the Hall of Fame?
No. Well, I don't think they should.
So
all
if
go
they're
to the Hall
in the
of Fame.
group of the 75 greatest drivers,
Well, I don't want to jump topics to water down,
yeah,
but it kind of has a lot of my arguments. So I'm going to transition there.
okay.
I think that the NASCAR Hall of Fame feels watered down because it is the newest Hall of Fame out of all major sports. So they do have to put people in there. So for us, it's like, man, they're just adding people in there. But there's a lot to add in there.
There's
Now, I don't think that all of the 75 deserve to be in there. But that is probably why it feels watered down. is
to that
because
point-
it's so new. So they're like, we have all these great people because there's a lot of great people who race NASCAR or done anything, crew chiefs, whatever, owners, Rick Hendrick. So you got to put them in there.
Okay, so I guess my point would be, if you're good enough to be one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers, and NASCAR's around for another 100 years, we're looking for people to put in.
The problem.
You're gonna have to put those people in.
The problem is it's we sit here and we pick everything apart, but it is so hard on any of those levels to have wins.
I agree. Yeah.
Like it is really difficult. Oh, it's easy to just jump in a car and win.
No.
But
I haven't got to.
I think that
go
the
on the
people who
truck.
have won in the past and won well, they got in there, but I wouldn't necessarily put them in the Hall of Fame because not all of those 75 drivers made contributions to progress the sport.
So let me make a quick point before you get on. So, and I was hoping you go a different direction. Maybe you won't, and we can agree. But Randy LaJoy was one of NASCAR's 75.
I knew you were going Randy LaJoy. You got something out for the LaJoy family.
Okay, so Randy
By the
LaJoy.
way, only one person at this table has Corey LaJoy merchandise and has wore Corey LaJoy merchandise to a racetrack and fangirled over Corey LaJoy, and it ain't me or Spencer.
Hey,
Dude,
we've
he
all-
treats Corey LaJoy like it's a bad ex.
We've all.
What'd he do to hurt you,
We've all
dude?
grown.
What'd he
I
do?
got tricked and thought he was a good driver. and he's
Yeah, I
not.
thought he was a good guy, but he wasn't.
Anyway, so Randy LaJoy was one of NASCAR's 75 greatest, and they said the justification on that was he was a two-time Xfinity champion. So take his name out of the picture. A two-time Xfinity champion, is that Hall of Fame worthy?
No,
No.
I wouldn't think so.
What if you had multiple Xfinity championships and like a few Cup wins?
How many multiple? Like
Two
5?
championships and let's say 3 Cup wins, but one's a big race like the Daytona 500.
That's tough. I mean, you're kind of putting me in a hole.
Yeah.
That's a quick no.
Quick note
I'm,
from Spence. What do you think?
I'm also leaning no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say yes, and then I was going to let you know that Ricky Stenhouse is in the next Hall of Fame because that's Ricky Stenhouse's career.
You think Ricky Stenhouse is gonna be in the Hall of Fame?
No, I'm just saying he has 2 Xfinity championships, just like Randy LaJoy does, and Randy LaJoy is one of the
He's not
75
in the-
greatest.
Yeah, but he's not in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think Randy LaJoy will make it. To
That's
the Hall
my
of Fame.
point. Is if you're going to make 75 greatest drivers, you eventually have to put those guys into the
No,
Hall
you
of
don't.
Fame.
If you take you guys' point about contributions, doesn't he make every seat ever in the cars? Like, isn't he a seat guy?
Who, Randy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is.
Well, not in the Cup cars, but
But-
for the overall sport.
Yeah, for the overall
racing.
sport. Like, again,
Yeah.
I don't think that. But
Yeah.
I don't think that should be measured.
I don't know about making seats being in the Hall of Fame.
That's a contribution
not a
to make the safest
Not a-
seats that you
not a-
possibly can.
I'd say that's a bigger contribution than talking about the race on TV.
Exactly.
No, because what you're doing is listen. When you're making a seat, okay, you're making a seat so Austin Dillon's ass can be comfortable. Okay, when you're talking to millions of viewers every Sunday, you're bringing them into the race. You're telling them how the race is working. You're describing what's happening on the track because to the average NASCAR,
Mike Jordan does not do that.
he has done that.
I'm not saying he
has
has.
I think-
I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying he does not now.
Yeah.
He does
Now,
not now.
not at this very moment because he has, and I will say Clint and Kevin, I love in the booth. I think they're fantastic together. But back in the day he did. Now he's more of the overall commentator, and then Clint and Kevin are the like the color commentators, like more getting into it. But I mean, he has before. I mean, he really has. But bringing people into the sport and doing, because if you're not describing what's going on and you don't know NASCAR and you're watching a NASCAR race, you're watching cars go around in circles and you have no idea what's going on. So you need those guys in the booth to be like, hey, this is what's happening. And he's done that for our entire lives.
I understand that he's done that for our entire lives. The point I will make is, though, when Kevin got there, he gave a real insight to this car that we're driving now.
For sure.
He gave an insight,
Yeah.
and no offense to Mike Joy, there is something that you just don't have. He probably did have an edge. He had an edge in 1998 when he started. He doesn't have an edge now. He has zero edge. All he does. I could
Man,
do,
he's been
I
doing
could
I agree
do
with that.
his
Well,
job.
we're getting in the weeds a little
I
bit.
could
talking
do
about
his
Mike
job.
Joy.
That's,
All right,
that's
real
a real
quick,
bold
real
thing
quick,
to say,
real
man.
quick.
It's not as easy as
Real-
just watching on TV going, I can do that.
Real
I mean,
quick.
come on, man.
Real quick, and we'll wrap
That's
this up.
that's tough, but
It's,
I mean
uh,
that's tough.
We'll do an overview on Mike Joy sometime. We can all shit on him because I would too. Well, I would.
Yeah.
But real quick from each of you,
Everybody
from
look
each
at
of
me.
you, I just want to know, yes or no, or give me a short answer. Is the Hall of Fame watered down?
No.
Is it not even that big of a deal? Where do you stand on it, Spencer?
The Hall of Fame, I've been there. So
Me too.
I'm
Me too.
speaking from experience, yes.
Yeah.
And I will say that as far as encasing history of the sport and showing what it used to be like, they do an amazing job.
Yeah,
They
I'm
do
talking
it.
about the people on the list.
I know.
not the
Hold
building.
on. They do an amazing job of showing
It's-
those people. But when you don't know any of them, it's like, what are you doing? So they're targeting the old fan and the guys in the Hall of Fame. 50% of them should be.
You're saying they're targeting the old fan,
Yeah.
but that's okay because it's the Hall of Fame and they were doing it before you watched.
And also, isn't it something that you could learn? I mean, you didn't know who Alan Kowicki was last week, but I told,
Yeah.
didn't.
but I
Learn.
told
That
you
doesn't
about
mean
it.
he should be in the Hall of Fame.
But I told you about him and it was interesting.
It was.
Yeah.
But
So
does
maybe
that
read
mean
the-
he should
maybe
have it
read the
black
little
at the Hall of
board.
Fame?
Maybe read the plaques
Yeah,
at the
maybe
Hall of
educate
Fame.
yourself.
Read the
Oh my
plaques.
God! God forbid you do that.
All right, Colby, is it watered down? Is
No.
it? Okay.
Well, listen. Yes, a little bit. And it feels like it right now.
I'm fine with you saying it's watered down. I just want examples of who you think shouldn't be on there, which I don't think either one of you can give me right now.
Who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, who's in the Hall
Dale
of Fame?
Matt
Jr.
Kenseth.
Oh God, Matt Kenseth just got. Why should Matt Kenseth not be in there?
I mean, what did he do to progress?
He won Rookie of the Year.
2003 champion.
Something
And
Junior
he-
didn't win.
2003 champion.
I mean,
He was the last champion in the Winston Cup format.
he's not that famous.
Okay, you.
Yeah.
I
Tell
don't know
him
what he
that's
got.
stupid criteria. Tell him that's
I mean,
stupid.
NASCAR accomplishments and contributions to the sport. He's a champion.
What he can? I mean,
He's a champion.
he's done nothing outside of sport. Is Carl Edwards in there?
He's been nominated.
He should not be.
He's been nominated.
Yeah, he should not be.
Okay, we'll move on because we're getting nowhere here. Let's I thought that was a good overview though, but we didn't get anywhere. So let's recap Richmond. What did y'all think? Was it a good race? We'll do our ratings first. Spence, what did you think?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Just give me the number. Give me the number, and then we'll get into it.
9-5.
Wow. Okay. Colby.
5'7".
Wow. Okay. I was gonna go like 7-7.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, 5-7's crazy.
Richmond sucked.
So what'd you like about it? What made you give you that rating?
The fact that the dude that dominated the entire race didn't even win it. That's what made it
Why would
amazing.
you-
What are you talking? Why are you laughing? That's amazing.
He should have won it.
But he didn't.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
that's true.
But he didn't.
But okay, let me ask you this: where'd you watch the race at?
My house.
Okay, when you were watching the race, did your lady watch it with you?
Yeah.
Were you captivated by this race?
110%.
The whole way through.
The whole way through.
Okay.
When they were just couldn't pass, couldn't do anything.
I wouldn't say they couldn't pass.
They can
Christopher
pass.
Bell drove through the field twice.
After going a lap down.
They couldn't pass.
So the main thing I want to get on is
Overall, as a group, they couldn't pass.
I don't
think it was
that's
any
true.
worse than any other track we've had. To be honest,
I mean, if you're comparing it to maybe like Phoenix or Coda, I can see that.
which is like 3 out of the.
Well, it's another short track, and the short track package is bad. But in Coda, I mean, that road course isn't very exhilarating. Anyway,
No.
So
So the big thing I want
it
to
just
jump
wasn't
on.
a captivating race.
So we started the race on rain tires.
that was good.
Which it was good because we got the race off, which I think honestly was the only reason we did it is they don't want to delay races.
Yeah.
I'm
I
okay
think-
with that.
and
I'm
I'm
okay with
okay with
that.
that. So then,
I think everyone's okay with that.
so we ran 30, 40 laps, I think.
30.
30.
Yeah. They had a competition caution at lap
Competition
25.
caution, and then they said we're gonna have. You have to put slicks back on.
Yep.
Non-competitive pit stops.
Did not like that.
And again, not to thing, but something I texted you about is like, why does NASCAR get to decide if it's slicks or not? Because it doesn't the wet tires make you go slower?
Well, it makes you go slower, but it's also you can't put slicks on if it's wet, right? Because you're gonna bust your ass.
I know, but why don't you not give the teams the option? That's their fault.
Right, and every other form of racing does that. But you have to think, 10 years ago, if you said NASCAR was going to race on wet asphalt at all,
Yeah.
road course or anything, they'd say you're crazy. So this is
That's
still
fair.
this is still super new.
Okay.
NASCAR's excuse that they used is we don't think pit road is dry enough. We don't have the experience of people pitting competitively in wet pit roads that aren't road courses, right, which are built a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we're worried about just cleaning a motherfucker out.
That's fair
typical.
point. That's
So
fair
that
point.
was their
The
excuse.
first one was fine. It was when they talked about the second one that it was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And then it's like when they said the second one was going to be non-competitive, it's almost like they got on Twitter and saw everybody shitting on their life.
Well, and again, the point I'll make about it is they spent during that first one going around the track for 15 to 18 laps. That's ridiculous. Red flag the race.
Which is crazy.
They're robbing us of green flag laps.
Okay, and I texted Spencer at the time because we were texting about it. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "I guarantee this is 15 laps we'll won at the end of the race."
Yeah.
And sure enough,
Yeah.
like if we had 15 more laps at that end of the race,
Truex would have won.
well, not only that, but like even, let's say we have 15 more, and everything plays out, strategy's different and all that, but let's just pretend everything stayed the same. That last caution came out with 15 to go. Now our last restart is 10 to go.
Yeah.
And maybe not. They have enough time to call that a jump, and we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't. But either way, let's say they don't call it a jump, but maybe Truex did have the better car and he can run down Hamlin too.
100%.
You don't know. We don't.
Yeah, we
know.
don't
We
know.
don't
We
know.
don't know.
But I said that at the time. You know, like way early in the show, I'm like, that's 15 laps. I guarantee we'll want back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you have to give them a little bit of grace because we're not F1. We don't have years and years of experience. Now, eventually, what they want to get to is if we have to start a race like that, and they've done it at the Roval before, because Ty Dillon actually won a stage
Running.
way back in the day because they started on rain tires.
Uh-huh.
He came in and put slicks on and drove all the way back through everybody.
Yeah.
Because when you have those slicks, you have to find wet pavement
Yeah.
or else you'll chew the tires up. So,
Of course.
And I can't remember when this was. It was years and years ago, but the guys were like dodging all around the Roval trying to find wet.
Wet.
And Ty Dillon's got slicks on. He's taken the preferred line
Yeah.
and won a stage. Like the only thing he's ever won.
Generational talent.
Yeah. Ty Dillon, who's going to make cup starts this year. Somehow. So thank you, Pop Pop.
Silver
But
spoon tastes great.
I think
That's a Hall of Fame driver we're talking about.
maybe if he can ride Grandpa Pop Pop's coattails. But I think they would ideally, right? They want to give the teams that option.
Yeah.
But NASCAR is very timid in some situations like that because in their mind, all they can think is we're gonna bulldoze some guy changing tires, and then the fans are gonna crucify us for that. They're gonna get crucified either way. If you know you're gonna get crucified either way, you might as well take the option that like doesn't end in somebody going to the hospital.
100%. And
But
again, I'm not.
It sucked. I'm promise
Yeah.
you it sucked.
Again, I just think it could have easily been avoided by just red flagging the race.
Yeah,
And
I do,
taking the 15 minutes that it took them to drive pit road, make your non-competitive stops. I wasn't arguing that at the beginning, but when they wanted to do it a second time, that's where it got crazy. Do your non-competitive pit stop, put the slicks on, go back out there and go again.
Well, you know why they didn't? TV window. Same reason they put the tires on to start the race. They could have delayed that race an hour and started on slicks.
Then what? It would have went to FS1.
Well, they're foxes down their throats of here's your window. We have reruns or bullshit, whatever, to put on afterwards. I mean, if there's any sport that runs over a lot and often, it's NASCAR. And we don't have enough viewers to justify it going over. I'm right, wrong, or indifferent.
That's fair.
So,
No, I'm glad they started
I mean,
on
it just-
time.
it
I'm glad they
sucks.
started on time, but I just wish they would have red flagged the race
yeah,
for.
I would have sat there until 2 in the morning watching the race personally. But
Yeah.
we're not most fans.
No.
So,
A lot of people, like when there's a red flag, they'll like passive fans, they'll tune out and they won't come back.
Yeah, which is funny because they used to, during red flags, they go interview people. Have y'all ever seen that interview? No, I'm getting way off topic. They red flagged a race at Darlington, and they go into Denny's bus, and it's Denny. it's Denny. This is obviously
Denny and Larson.
Denny Larson
Yeah,
and Ricky
yeah,
Stenhouse,
yeah,
and they're playing PGA whatever.
PGA 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Larson, I knew you'd be playing video games. And he goes, what is that, an Asian joke? Which is TV gold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously pre-2020.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
yeah, well, he got sensitized. He got sensitized for sure. But, I mean, there's good red flag content. But, I mean, they don't want that. They just want racing on the track. So we'll go right into that. I mean, that was kind of BS. The next thing I want to talk about, besides we can debate past and all that, what about we're in the middle of a Richmond race with strategy, half the field taking one strategy, half the field taking the other strategy, and we get a caution for Kyle Busch brushing the wall.
Yeah. I have a conspiracy on this.
Okay.
I've looked at the film. I've looked it over. I think I know. So a lot of times they have spotters for NASCAR looking around the track.
They have one on every corner.
Yep. I think the spotter on that corner fell asleep because the race was so boring, and he heard the bump of the wall. It was like, ah! And then hit the yellow.
The funny thing is, if you look at the replay, as soon as because the caution lights are on the fence, as soon as he hits the wall, you see that light go yellow.
Yeah, I mean they were ready to throw that caution.
So,
it was.
But all the strategy went out the window.
It did.
It did.
I'm not mad about it because I had Kyle Busch, and in that moment it kind of helped me. But no, I get both your opinions on that.
Yeah.
No. It was
not a-
BS
that
bad.
was
You couldn't even
bad.
tell me that there was debris on the track.
No.
You couldn't tell me.
They didn't have
nothing.
enough time to see.
He had a
those
tire
guys.
go down. He played it perfectly. He was not in the way. It's not like he stopped up there out of the exit. He got down perfectly. Make him go to pit road under green and suffer for whatever they did. If it was air pressure
I don't
or
think
what
he would have
happened.
pitted because I don't think he had a tire.
I don't know. He just may have got loose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you do have to punish him for that because it ended up that, he literally lucked out.
Yeah,
On
he
that.
lucked out, but
Yeah.
people like Larson and Bowman was screwed because
Oh,
I'd
100%.
Bowman in my lineup.
Yeah.
That killed
and
me.
he had top 10 speed, if not top 5 speed.
I know.
So we had bets on him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a little fucking ridiculous. So we get into that. I don't know. We talked last week. Richmond's known as the action track. I don't know if you know that.
I did not
It's
know
like
that.
its nickname, and it used to be action.
That's a silly little name.
It used to have action, but I just don't know with this package if what it's going to take to get back to that. I don't know if it's horsepower. I think it's probably more tires than anything. but
Bristol tires.
That's what I'm saying.
Have we thought about adding dirt? What if we just put dirt on there and then? I mean, it might be pretty good. Easter Sunday, we've done it before.
It would be the longest dirt
It works
track.
the first year.
It'd be the longest dirt track in America.
That'd be cool.
No, it would not.
It'd be the first thing we'd ever seen.
Yeah, we don't go slow enough. Let's go slower.
I mean, I'm
I-
okay with it. Would have been muddy because it'd
So-
been raining.
Oh my
It'd been
God.
sweet.
Shut the fuck
So
up.
but you're taking the Kyle Busch caution.
Yeah.
You got Larson Bubba, which we haven't touched on, and you got MJ freaking out. I don't understand how in the world you don't say that's a great
No.
race.
I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, I
think it's one of the best races we've seen
yeah.
all
I
year.
gave it a very fair rating of.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like late race cautions. I don't like green white checkers, but it was a very legitimate one, right?
It had,
It was the
yeah.
only
it
spin
was.
we had.
They could not get back
Yeah.
around.
And the thing that everyone bitches is like, well, Bubba spun Larson on purpose to make his team owner win. Like, if you believe that, just
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
jump off a fucking cliff, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way. So if you look at it, Larson was loose, but they're both racing the piss out of each, like they did earlier in the race. I don't know if you
Larson
remember.
ran out of
Yeah.
talent.
Earlier in the race. Oh my god. But
So, that wasn't a joke.
But earlier in the race, Bubba and Larson were racing side by side, all the way around the track for multiple laps.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's no animosity there, I don't think. I mean, Larson gets over everything. Bubba's got his own race to race. They were just racing hard. They were both fighting loose, and Bubba just tapped him a little bit. So it was a legitimate caution.
And got him at probably the worst spot he could.
Right.
Like, it just so
it was what
Yeah.
it was. So it was a legitimate caution, so I can't complain too much. Now, Denny was running, Denny and Logano both were running MTJ down before that caution because Ross was just being Ross.
He wouldn't let him
He
pass.
wouldn't let him pass,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Love Ross.
So then we get a late race restart, and I think we're all in agreement here, but did Denny jump?
No. Denny Hamlin did not jump. He stayed to the rules of NASCAR. He would never cheat against the rules of NASCAR with everything he's done against the sport. I think it's ridiculous for people online to say that a father of two wouldn't be honest. So Denny Hamlin did exactly what he was supposed to do there. Cheater, pumpkin eater, Martin Truex Jr. was trying to lay back. Don't know if you saw that.
No, well, him, Logano, and Larson were trying to.
So Denny Hamlin utilized the restart zone. Emphasis zone. It's a zone. It's not a line. It's a zone. And did what he had to do to win the race. Yeah. There was no jump there.
I'm in 100% agreement with you. The one thing I will say about the zone is I thought your car had to be fully in the zone.
It does, yeah.
And I will say he was not fully
No.
in the zone.
I will say
his front tires may have been in the zone. And again, I don't think he jumped it. Everyone was laying behind him. He has the right of way to go anywhere in that zone, and he knows that it's close. So if I'm Denny Hamlin, do what he did and put it in NASCAR's hands and make them say that. Make them say, hey, you jumped the restart, which would set a precedent from now on.
Right. I think they officiated different. And I'm going to hang with me here because I'm going to say something a little different. Denny did jump. Denny jumped. But Denny didn't do anything different than has ever been done. It's a game they all play. Now, I don't fault Denny. I don't think there was any reason to penalize Denny because Denny didn't do anything different. We can go back and look at restarts all day long, especially green, white, checkers.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I'm going to put it in NASCAR's hands.
Yep.
And in the Xfinity race, they reviewed 2 restarts. Mm-hmm. And it was like 2 laps after the restart, they said, it's under review. And then another 2 laps, they're like, okay, it's fine. Which tells me, whether they're capable or not, that it takes NASCAR about 4 or 5 laps to call something back.
100%.
And we had 2 laps.
I mean,
we had 2 laps to work with.
Yeah. They got my boy Riley Herbst
earlier
this year on exactly what Truex did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like barely.
Yes.
Like and you said this. If you're at your door when you're entering turn 1 and 2, no one jumped anything.
No, it's got to be egregious. And so by definition of the rule, yes, he jumped, but that is a rule that's never enforced towards the end. And if you're Denny and you're sitting there watching the people behind you lay back, MTJ's trying to roll you, and you hear that all the time. He's rolling him, right? So he's laying back, and then he's hitting the throttle, hoping that when Denny goes, Denny still takes off first, but he's going like maybe 5 miles an hour faster.
Yep.
So he beats him, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're Denny, you're like, I mean, worst case scenario, they call me for this and I don't win.
Yep.
But if I go in the box, I don't win either way.
Yes.
So I'm going to put it in NASCAR. So he went about half a car length before that line, which by the rule is jumping. But that happens. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
I'm saying I didn't see it.
That's exactly what NASCAR did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what NASCAR did because they have let these guys, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it because if it's egregious, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he gapped Truex by 5 car lengths going into 1, sure, call his ass back.
Yeah.
But Truex, if you look on the onboard, as soon as Denny goes, it's like his fingers on the fucking button. He goes, he went early.
Yeah.
He went
yeah.
like he was anticipating.
He knew
you know what
it.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he did exactly what he had to win the race. And last time I checked, that's what they're all there for.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't think there's, if it wasn't Denny Hamlin that did it, there wouldn't be. We wouldn't still be talking about it on Thursday.
Probably not. No.
If it was the number 9 car, everyone would say, well, there's gray area in the rule. That's why it's always.
What a great restart!
What a great race. He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Just an average boy from Dawsonville.
His fucking private jet.
Yeah.
So the one thing, I don't want to spend too much time on that because everybody else has. I think we're all in agreement it was legitimate. MTJ just lost his fucking mind.
Oh yeah.
And
Crybaby.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like good to see the emotion, but for sure crybaby.
Crybaby.
And then just like tries to
For
fuck
no
with
reason
Larson.
against Larson.
no reason.
Just absolutely.
Which I
Larson's
thought
like,
was
what did I do?
hilarious. Larson doors him right back, puts him in the wall, and they interview him afterwards, and Larson can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Which is the funniest thing to me. Larson's just like, yeah, I guess he's pissed at me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He's like, he's probably pissed at Denny, and I was just there.
Larson's just happy with his top
Yeah,
five.
he was super happy, but I mean, I don't know. Were you surprised to see Truex lose? I wasn't.
I honestly, I kind of was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that he's kind of been known to do that, but I didn't. I thought if anything, he'd say something at post race, like 2 laps. Denny gets in front of him, and then Truex starts dropping back. I'm like, I mean, I know he's going to be irritated, but he's just going to blame Denny. And the next thing I know, he's crashing Larson, and it's like, what? I didn't know.
Yeah.
To me, it came out of left field.
I can think
Really?
of 3 times off the top of my head that after a race, Truex has went up and just like hit the shit out of the leader or the winner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like he
so-
did Denny.
Yeah, so one was Joey Logano at Martinsville
Okay.
in 2018, and then the 2018 again was Jimmy Johnson at the Roval.
Okay.
When Jimmy Johnson did that, and then there was a stage win. I can't remember where it was, but it was Denny again.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thought Denny did him dirty at the stage break. He bumped him too. So like he's not immune to that.
I think the best thing that we all could have wanted to witness was the competition meeting on Monday
Yeah.
Oh,
with
yeah,
him.
right.
I mean, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And knowing Truex, he was probably like, I got mad.
Yeah. Yeah. And
No,
Denny's
sure.
sitting there like, dude, calm the hell down.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the craziest thing about it is after Diddy won, there was no TV coverage on it, but they were like, and there's a wreck in turn 1 against Larson and Martin Truex
Yeah.
Jr. After the race is over,
Yeah.
like after
They're
they
just as
took the
confused as
jabber.
we were.
Yeah, I was so confused, man.
So, real quick, we'll get into standouts. Our Corey LaJoy versus Carson Hocevar. It is 4-3.
Yeah.
Corey
Carson.
LaJoy. I'm pretty sure Corey LaJoy. Last I checked, he's still at Richmond making his laps. I think he's still. He was that many laps out. I'm pretty sure he's probably putting on a set of tires right now. And
that's
finishing
funny.
up.
He just took the wets off.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they like put a truck motor in that car or what, but yeah, he was absolute dog shit.
Well, normally, now Corey LaJoy is not a Kyle Larson.
No, he's
But-
not really a driver either.
He's not running last place, multiple laps down bad.
Until Richmond.
I mean, you can't sit here and just absolutely crucify the guy over this one.
We're not
bad
crucifying.
race.
We're just telling
I
that
know
Carson's
you're.
better.
I know you're not,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's a certain man over here
Okay.
that is just ready.
I got a hammer and a box of nails.
I dedicated an episode to my boy Corey. Okay.
Yes. So he, I mean, he had a bad race. But you have to also look at all the good things that he's
Carson
done.
Hocevar is now 2.
All the contributions he's made outside the sport.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying
He'll
that.
probably get a
Listen,
Hall of
I'm not
Fame
going to
for
sit
that
here and tell
podcast.
you Corey LaJoy's a Hall of Fame driver.
Yet.
I know.
I mean,
don't-
what if he's had a Stack and Pennies podcast for 25 years and he's been spreading the word of NASCAR, and that's the voice of Stack and Pennies, you know?
That's not the same thing.
Oh, okay.
That's not the same thing.
Or could you see him doing it?
I think he listen, I think he will hold on to that podcast as long as NASCAR will fund it.
Yeah.
I-
Same as he's holding on
Is
to
it
a ride.
MRN? Is it MRN?
It's NASCAR.
Oh, it is
It's
NASCAR?
MRN.
They do it in a
okay.
NASCAR building.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. My bad.
But he, so Carson just passed him in points too. He's 2 positions higher in points than Corey.
Long way to go.
So
It is.
Corey,
You're right. You're right.
Long way to go.
long way to go.
I told you from the beginning. I'm just here to watch it. I'm not really rooting for
No,
anybody.
and I said
Yeah.
from the beginning too. If he beats him, I mean, he should.
Yep.
He should make me look dumb.
Yep.
But right now he's losing 4-3,
Yep.
and his 2 rookie teammates outran him at Richmond, a driver's track, and he is a veteran. So we'll leave it there. A couple other standouts I want to get into. A little bit of rivalries. We touched on Larson Bubba and MTJ. Did you see Barry and Suarez?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's because nobody could pass, and I think that Suarez was just doing too much, and I think Josh Berry got tired of it.
Well, from what Barry said,
Josh
kinda
Berry
what-
was fast though.
Barry was
That's
fast.
what I'm saying. He was trying to pass Suarez.
So
Suarez was like, "Not today,
Nothing
amigo,"
is
and
ever
would not let him pass.
Nothing is ever Daniel Suarez's fault. I don't know if you know that about him.
Oh, for sure. He'll
and-
lose his right at Trackhouse.
Maybe.
If
Maybe.
Pitbull steps down.
He's
He brings a lot of money.
Yeah.
So he came down on Josh Berry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then got pissed at Josh Berry. And then Josh Berry's like, I don't know why the hell he would think that he could do that, and I wouldn't hold my line.
Yeah.
But,
I like Josh Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a short track dude. I mean, he gets it.
Yeah.
And after the race, Suarez did come up to him. They had a bit of a, not an altercation, but like a heated conversation.
Yeah.
So those are two more guys I'm adding to my list to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it turns into something.
Yep.
But honestly, if Josh Berry keeps running good, which he has the past 2 races, they might not be running around each other.
Another guy that just passed the field.
I do have to say, last time I was on this podcast, we made a bet.
Yeah.
And Josh Berry makes me nervous. No one else does, but Josh Berry makes me nervous about the Stuart Haas win. Dude, he is good. He is real
You know,
good.
Martinsville's like his playground, too.
I know. Dude, that 4-car is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't say so good because, I mean, the Fords have just been lackluster compared to the Chevys and Toyotas. And so it's literally like he is, to me personally, he's doing what Kevin was doing in that 4-car, and he's outperforming the ride.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about Briscoe. We're not talking about Noah Gregston. We're not talking about Ryan Preece out of that camp. And we're barely talking about Brad Kay, Chris Buescher, and literally until this week we weren't talking about Joey.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Fords have a long way to come if they want to continue. That's all I'll say about the Fords. But I am with you that's why I made that, because Josh Berry's good.
I think if a win comes out of there, it's going to be Josh Berry.
And, yeah.
This is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But
For the guys like Chase Briscoe in particular, Ryan Preece is Ryan Preece.
Yeah.
You know, he's
and I think he's a good
kinda,
driver, but he's kind of one of those that I'm like wondering if it's going to train.
He's a Newman. He's a Newman.
He might be a Newman.
Yeah,
he might be.
he is a Newman. It's one guy that Truex also didn't want to see in front of him.
Yeah.
He didn't want to see a Ross. He didn't want to see a Ryan Preece. You know, there's certain guys that you don't want to see out there, and I think Ryan Preece is one of those that you don't want to see in front of you. And you're like, please.
Because he's just bad enough to be behind, but he's just good enough to stay in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll say on standouts, Joey and Chase finally kind of woke up.
Yeah.
Top 5s for both of them, so we'll see where that goes. Do you think either one of them gets a win this year?
Joey, I think
Or
so.
Chase?
Yes on both, and
But for the love of God,
I'm gonna turn my TV off. If Chase Elliott's leading the last lap at whatever race, I'm gonna turn TV off.
I'll say Joey definitely gets a win, and I think he'll get a win like Truex deserved. You know what I mean? Where he leads
Dominates.
70% of the race. Like he's gonna find a track where they build the right car, and we know he can drive. Chase, I'm not ready to say he wins the race yet. Personally, I just he got it top 5. I'm still not in. Like you need 4 of those before I'm gonna even consider you winning.
This Napa Park Chevrolet right here. Just,
Yeah.
You know, I'd just like to thank everybody out there. Rick
It was a
Hendrick.
great day.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
Be excited about the first top 5 that you've had all year.
Yeah.
The first ride that you've been competitive in this entire season, and you just are like me talking after an iRacing.
He was just as excited as if he would have won, though, to be honest.
No, you're right,
So-
which is even more sad. But.
All right, well, let's jump right into Drop the Green Bets. I think we have some good news.
Let's go! We picked a race winner, boy! He didn't jump the restart. Yeah. You can. You want us to pause? Okay. So last week I had Denny to win, which hit plus 430.
So how much did we get off that?
So we started the week down after I bet 3 more units. We started down 9.8 units on the week,
Okay.
and then we won back 0.8.
That's it?
That's
Off that
it.
win?
Yeah.
Oh, because the other 2 bets.
Because
Okay, so now
the
we're
other 2
down.
got me.
Now we're down 9 units.
No, we're down. No. We got our 3 back. We got our 3 plus 0.8. So now we're just down 6.
Oh,
So
okay.
so what I'm saying is we were down 6.8 and we won 3.8.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
So now we're down 6. So we got a little back, and the one thing about that is I went too hard in on Kyle Busch, and you warned me, and you got me.
I did.
You got me.
I didn't want to
You-
rub it in your face.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You
know,
did, and
I had a little.
you had
feeling
an
in it.
inkling, and
Yeah.
and then you had an inkling about Michael McDowell being good. So now you're 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So-
about like Corey and Carson right
Exactly. And then the other one, which in all, I wish, because Kyle Busch didn't even finish top 10 and caused the whole thing between
Debacle, yeah.
between Bowman, because we know Bowman had top 10 speed.
now. He did.
So I think if you run that race 9 more times, out of that one you take out of 10, he's finishing top 10 9
Yeah.
times. I mean, if you're taking that exact car and you just race that race all over again, he gets it. So
And that's
that was a tough
gambling.
that was a tough one to lose, because it's almost like his car, and Colby said it right, like I thought people were able to pass, but some people weren't.
Yeah.
And Bowman was one of those guys that had speed up there. No one was passing him. Now, granted, he wasn't challenging Truex. He wasn't challenging Joey.
He could hold his position.
He could hold his position with ease. And so it was just one of those, like, I don't know what happened to him when he got back in the field, but it did. So this week, I got some good ones for you. Let me pull it up now that Colby's back.
Did you go grab a beer?
But
I go grab.
we
You called me out.
I
last
saw
time.
that.
we're down 6 units, and we got another 3 units for you up this week. And this week, I think you got to go with the hot hand. That's Denny Hamlin top 3. I'm not picking him to win. You got to pick Denny Hamlin. He's got plus 125 odds. So,
Full unit.
yeah, full unit on Denny. And then my race winner, I'll say that to the end. So I picked a matchup this week, and this is solely kind of based on past Martinsville races stats as I was looking before this, and that's Chris Buescher versus Brad Kay, and I picked Chris. Chris
like that.
Chris has better finishes than Brad Kay in the last 6 Martinsville races by a good 5 positions.
Okay.
And you can.
I know it just doesn't feel right.
I know, but I'm just telling you. And
Yeah.
if you've looked on paper too, and just the eye test, he's outperformed Brad the last couple of years.
I believe
So,
you.
so I put half a unit on him. He's plus 112 to be that. So all he's got to beat is Brad, no matter where they get finished.
That's not
25th.
bad.
He's plus 112.
Plus 112 just against Brad.
That's a good bet.
Yeah. So put a half a unit on him. And then another one, this is a layup of the week that I feel really good about. This is the climb that we're trying to make. Will he be top 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will he be top 10?
Minus a
those
million.
new
Minus
Hendrick cars.
250. Minus 250. So we're not making much, but we're gonna get our money back. I feel 110% confident in that.
Yep.
And so full unit on him. So now we're at 2.5 units. We got one more. And our last half unit is going to go on Seabell to win at Martinsville.
Okay.
What's that odds?
Plus 750. Yeah.
He's won there before. He had
Yes.
that walk-off win there.
Yeah.
When the Hail Melon happened.
Yep.
He actually, no one remembers that.
Nope.
But he won the race.
Because everybody
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
remembers that. Yeah.
That Ross did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So plus 750, I think that's a little bit of a value pick with the race winner. Denny was plus 450. Truex was plus 500, Larson was plus 500, and then you jump to, I think William Byron was next, and then Seabell. So the Toyotas have been fast, as we've seen, and to me, I don't think you can bet a Ford yet.
Not yet,
Personally,
no.
like I'd rather
But it makes you
one of
wonder
them
if
win.
Blaney- I just wonder
before I
if
bet
Blaney,
him.
someone like Blaney is going to come in. I don't know.
I want to see it though.
Yeah.
Like
That's
to
what's hard
me,
about it.
I can't put my money on it until we go. Hey, they actually can compete with the Toyotas that have been there week in and week out. The Hendrick camp that has kind of been in there in the short tracks so far. So again, I mean Blaney was completely dominant in the fall
Yeah.
when he won here.
Yeah.
So, but we just haven't seen that. And you know what happens when you win? You get complacent.
Right.
Did you think you have the best car? Those other guys, they've been
You don't know
work-
what to work on.
You don't.
You don't know what to
You
work
don't.
on.
And those other guys have been working. Seabell. Right now, to me, I mean, and no offense to Denny, he's kind of the dude at JGR right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree.
he has been performing. I
Yeah.
mean, I know he doesn't
Which
have
I
a
think
win.
is kind of pushing Denny in a weird. Not that Denny needs any more motivation.
No, but yeah, you're
it's almost
exact-
kind of pushing Denny.
Yeah, 100%. And so, and we saw that towards the end without that. I mean, I'm pretty sure Seabell had a penalty.
Yeah.
He had a penalty, and he
Got his
still
lap back.
finished top 10.
Yeah.
And so that's how fast that car was, because he was kind of on the same strategy as Denny was, and just running really, really long, and then pitting and hoping
Yeah.
that you had tires at the end, and he had him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had it. So, again, I don't know what tire wear will be. And, again, another tough thing about gambling before the qualifying is,
yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, I'm going to look like a genius if Seabell qualifies top 3,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because
So,
then you'll have it made.
yeah.
you'll have him
I
made.
mean,
Yeah,
I
that
think
gives him
if
the
he
best
gets out there,
chance.
if he starts 10 spots above, in anywhere in the top 10, I'm 100% confident he can win. Like, he has a car that can win.
Yeah.
If he qualifies outside the top 15, I'm a bit more cautious, but I know that team will go to work. But y'all got anything?
No, I think that's good. We're digging out of the hole.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I love betting on winning manufacturer,
Okay.
and I just checked FanDuel and
Yep.
Toyota's plus 110.
Yep.
So I might
Okay.
do something a little bit there because I feel really good about Toyotas here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I might go there as well.
I like it.
I like your Chris Buescher pick.
Yeah,
that really stood out to me. I will do that. Too.
And it's gonna be one to watch. I mean, it could literally be a battle between 7th and 8th, or it
Yeah.
could be a battle between 25th and 26th.
That's the thing about those guys. They always run. Even at Richmond, they finished right next to each other.
Yeah.
they do.
They always run right next
Yeah.
to each
That's
other.
gonna come down to the
Oh
wire.
yeah, it's gonna be good. And again, I'm just going off of what I've seen, and that's Chris Buescher right now, just still kind of being better than
Man,
Brad.
I just want Brad to win a
Me too.
race
I would
so
love to see him
bad.
win. Yeah, but then we just know they don't have the cars right now, and it's a whole Ford thing. I mean, Ford is the last manufacturer. They got the worst odds as manufacturers picks go. So.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, because I think they have more cars than Toyota.
Oh,
It's pretty,
100%.
I don't know if it's a crazy thing to say. I'm not sure
No.
it's true. But
So.
all right, well, we'll jump right into predictions then. We kind of hit on some of them already. So we're going to be shifting. They never changed any of that.
Yeah.
We got the short track package, which we have seen has not made a huge difference. And then we don't know what I've tried to look up what the tires are.
They don't know yet.
Yeah, they don't know yet.
Yep.
I would imagine.
Please
same
be
as always.
Bristol tires. Please be Bristol
I don't think it
tires.
will
Please
be.
be Bristol. Man,
I
that
think
race
we-
was-
You know what would be a really good tire though is between the one that we had this week at Richmond and between Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tire, if they could continue that tire to the short track, I think that would be a perfect
Yeah.
match right
I
there.
still think the only reason we got the Bristol tires because we had never ran a spring Bristol race,
Bristol race.
on Concord.
100%. Yeah.
So we just know too much about Martinsville. They're not going to change anything. We're going to be shifting. The one
Is
thing
it going to be a fuel mileage race?
probably. I mean, I'm just guessing. I mean, we're going to be at Martinsville worrying about fuel
Do
instead of
you
tires.
think though, since they haven't released the tire yet, that they may be changing it?
I think they
That-
might
to
be
me-
working on it.
To me,
Maybe they're looking for
because
that,
If you have the tire that you know you're going to take, you're going to put it out there.
Maybe they might be working on that
Because
equal thing.
We already know, like by Tuesday, what tire they're running. Normally, Tuesday or Wednesday at the max.
Yeah,
We
I
kinda
don't know. I really haven't checked in on tires until the whole Bristol thing happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know what day they usually put that on. But I mean, I'm just like,
I mean, we're recording on Thursday.
Thursday evening, yeah.
It's not far away.
No.
They qualify in
I mean,
48
maybe
hours.
I'm
Yeah.
like preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Honestly.
Okay.
So I'm expecting a traditional Martinsville race. Well, traditional as far as next gen, where we're
Yeah.
shifting. And even if you bring, that's what sucks about the tires. I feel like even if you brought a shitty tire, we're still not solving that problem of overdriving the corner, downshifting,
Yeah.
and there's no
It
finesse.
still
anymore.
helps though. It still helps.
It helps as far
Yeah.
as maybe strategy, but
And drive off, like you're not going to get the same drive off.
Hey man,
after
anything
50
will help
laps.
Martinsville. Martinsville's been a snooze fest for.
I agree
No, I
as far
agree,
as
so anything will help.
it should
that
never
track.
be. It should
And
never
it
be
should
the
be.
Daytona 500 with
Because
a.
Martinsville's like one of
It's an
NASCAR's
iconic track, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And
No,
so
I agree.
hate
I
that it's
want
the
it to
way
be.
that it is.
I want
And
it
the
to be
and the
great.
only reason it hasn't been a snooze fest. I mean, it has been a snooze fest. But if it wasn't for Ross,
Yeah.
we would say this race has been the worst race. that
Thank
we've
you,
seen.
Ross.
Yeah.
Except that he did my boy Denny dirty.
He did him, yeah, but
Did him dirty. But that was exciting. That was
yeah.
So it could be bad.
Never again will we ever see that done.
So the one,
I hate that thing.
I
I
know.
love that. 'Cause how funny would it be? Just people riding
dude,
the wall.
yeah, fucking ridiculous, fucking ridiculous.
It'd be like Bosch.
The
But
one-
you know what would be funny though is the fact that I do think it's harder than he made it look. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And you would, and especially in the Xfinity series and the Truck series, we would try to see guys do it, and they would fail miserably.
Yeah, Kyle Larson tried it
Yeah,
in this car that year.
Yep,
And he couldn't get it done.
It didn't
but-
work.
Yeah, well, he also like admitted his brains were like scrambled eggs afterwards too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
takes-
a completely different car.
yeah, it takes balls. To
Oh
do it.
yeah.
The one thing I just want to kind of close on. So it's the 40th anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports. If you don't know the story, Hendrick Motorsports started, and then kind of they had all these deals lined up. Richard Petty was actually supposed to drive for him.
Okay.
Which is why Rick Hendrick came in. That deal fell through. They kind of, he had a bunch of money, as he always has, but not the money he has now. And they had Jeff Bodine in the car in the number 5 Levi Garrett car.
Yep.
Awesome car. And Rick Hendrick, this is the story. He's also a car salesman, so we'll just have to believe him. He said that was their last race, and then they were out of money.
Yeah.
If they didn't win, he was done forever. And they went to Martinsville, and Jeff Bodine won.
Of course he did.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Rick
He
Hendrick.
wasn't
He's,
done.
he's a car salesman. But so I only say that to say they're celebrating their 40th anniversary. They painted all the cars ruby.
Yeah.
Which I guess ruby is the color of a 40th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Every anniversary has different colors.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that ruby is 50th anniversary. So Rick Hendrick has too many. Rick Hendrick, as a car owner, Hendrick Motorsports has too many wins that are like storybook. Even go back to they haven't won before the Daytona 500. All they were saying is that Rick Hendrick hasn't won the Daytona 500 in 10 years since
Yeah.
Dale Jr. 2014, and then William Byron wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had that plane crash, and then they won the very next race.
Yeah.
And then they won the race when there's allegedly out of money and just all this stuff that and so I just feel like not that it's rigged by any means, but just
I understand.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It just
it
always
it seems like a setup.
Rick Hendrick is just working for the Lord Almighty, I guess. And
Yeah.
everything always goes his way. So
He's
I just
living right.
I just feel like it's gonna be one of the Hendrick guys, and I hope it's not Chase. Honestly, it would be cool if it was Bowman, because Bowman does have a win at Martinsville.
He does have a win
If
at
you
Martinsville.
remember him wrecking, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then they went nose to
Yeah.
nose. Yes.
So I'm just kind of, I just feel if there's not a Rick Hendrick car in Victory Lane, I'll be completely shocked.
Okay.
Okay.
What do y'all think?
I mean, Larson's not good there, and I think he's
Yeah.
the
But they
only.
have ruby cars. Did you consider that?
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I'm
I'll
just
look at all
saying-
the paint
I'm
schemes
just
for my
saying.
bets now,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
just
I'll
saying
take
there's
those into
Something
consideration.
about iconic Hendrick paint schemes, and they just make it happen.
Yeah.
Hey,
well.
any manufacturer on FanDuel for Chevy's plus 200.
Yeah.
Did you consider that Rick Hendrick is working for the Lord Almighty?
We'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see.
So what do you ideally? What would y'all want to see? You might give me another one.
I'd want to
What would y'all wanna
see.
see?
I want to
We're gonna have
see.
shifting. We have to understand that we're gonna have shifting.
We're gonna have shifting. I want to see that after, I'll say 40 laps. After 40 laps, I want to see a little bit of tire fall off.
Okay.
I want to see the cars kind of running the same, or we can kind of see the guys behind the leaders, maybe that weren't driving as hard. That's just what I want to see. We're gonna see the shifting. I just don't want to see a fuel mileage race. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You
No,
go
it
to a
is,
less
it
than a
is.
mile track, and you're worried about how much gas you got
It's
to
a
get to the
half-mile
end.
flat track.
Yeah, half-mile flat track. You should not be worried about how much fuel you got in the car.
Yeah.
Never. That was the massive talking point of the fall, and it wasn't in the spring race that year, but that should not be a talking point at this track.
You know what's crazy? No, I know you're about to go, but what's crazy is that if the tire's the same and it doesn't wear, we will still have guys on that first pit stop that pit for 4.
Yeah.
And somebody will stay out.
Yep.
Or somebody will take 2,
Mhm.
and then they'll stay up there, and everyone's like, We can do like they don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't. It happens every single race.
That was, and not to go back, but that was one thing I was really hoping Bowman would do at the very end is take 2.
So Danny talked about that on his podcast. Somebody asked that. Or his co-host asked that. They're like, if you're 15th, kind of the same thing I asked you.
Yeah.
If you're 15th, 16th a lap down.
Yeah. Why are you not?
Stay out.
Yeah.
Worst you can finish is 15th. And Danny was like, and which is funny because everyone's like, there's no tire wear. He's like, that you would have got ran the fuck over.
And I believe him.
He's like, it wasn't worth it because you wouldn't have netted anything.
Yeah.
You would have just been in the way.
And you would have made everyone mad.
Not only made everybody mad, but like you would have wrecked because you would have fell that far.
You don't even think taking 2 would have meant something?
I think so, but
I think staying out
you,
completely was out of the question.
Yeah.
But I definitely was surprised that we saw no gamble from any crew chief with 2.
I don't know.
Like
I'll tell you what Denny said.
Yeah. Now, but
Denny is right.
And he knows all.
Yeah.
He does.
But to me, hopefully, maybe we see a gamble. We see a gamble that's not like I hope I can make it to the end on fuel. It's hey, we're taking 2 here, or we're staying out, or something like that.
Something. If tires don't matter, we need to see something crazy.
100%. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna kind of echo what Spencer said. I mean, I'm worried about this Martinsville race, just because it's been such a snooze fest in the past, and this is one of those tracks when I see come up next, I'm excited for, and then I'm let down every single time.
That's why I think William Byron's going to win in a Ruby car, and we're going to waste.
And we're going to be like, this was a waste.
This is a waste of a Sunday.
Yes.
Every time William Byron wins.
Yes. So I hope that the fact that we don't know what the tire is yet, I hope that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I hope that Goodyear is trying to find that middle ground that you guys were talking about with the tire, or they're not just going to blow out. Now, we were at Bristol, and I will say that was just so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a great time, but we don't need that.
How'd you end up going to Bristol?
I went to Bristol because a real good friend of mine hooked me up with some tickets.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we're happy
Did he
about
have
that.
a butt rash?
Yeah, he couldn't make it.
It's giving me shit because I listened to that podcast you were on. You're like, yeah.
Well, I didn't know at
You're
that
like, I
time
think
if
I'm
I was
going
going
to
to go.
Bristol.
I didn't know if I was going to go at that
You
time.
could have still mentioned who gave you the tickets.
I'm
so.
sorry. Anyway, Austin gave me free tickets to Bristol, and I'm very, very appreciative. And we had a really good time. We tailgated.
We did.
And to anybody watching, I don't know how other tracks go, but when you go down to the fan zone, there's a separate area where it's like the off-brand merchandise.
Yeah, gypsy tents.
Those are the best. I mean, it's just dude, we found die-cast for $10.
Oh yeah.
I bought
I mean,
a,
it's awesome.
I bought a die-cast of a 1992 Chevy Suburban that was painted like Jeff Gordon's car, and it was in honor of his rookie. It was like one of 2,000.
Yeah.
And it was like rookie of the year Jeff Gordon. It was 20. But,
it's
I mean,
a good deal.
I was like, dude, I don't care how much it is. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like those old boxy Suburbans with the rainbow paint scheme, number 25. I need to bring it here and put it on the thing.
Yeah.
But I got on eBay afterwards. Not that I cared how much it was.
Yeah.
I got on eBay and someone was selling it for like $75.
Jeez.
And I was like, dude, nice.
I will say one last thing on that. When I went to Bristol, I have never seen more drivers out and about. I saw 4 drivers, like from almost
When you didn't tell me that.
me to the wall. So I saw Chris Buescher was really, really close.
What?
I saw Austin Dillon. I saw Noah Gregson. And then me and my buddy that I went with, we were walking by, and right here on a golf cart comes Daniel Suarez.
Oh, heck
And so it was just, I've never been to a race and seen that much access to drivers. So I don't know if that's a new thing they're doing or maybe I'm
think
just
probably
off,
some of that
but it
is-
was awesome to see that.
The like the driver lot at Bristol is outside the track because they obviously can't put their RVs in the middle of the track, so maybe
Yeah.
that's some of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't tell me that. I didn't
Well,
know
they
some
were
of
all
that.
at their haulers. Well, 3 of them were at their haulers signing stuff, and there was real big lines, but I would just walk past the hauler, take a quick picture.
Yeah,
But and then I saw Suarez on a golf cart, but he was headed to the hauler too.
nice.
But yeah,
Real
that was cool.
quick story that I have to tell since Colby's here.
Okay.
So we went to the first time they repaved Atlanta.
Yeah.
I knew I would hate it, but I just wanted to go just to say I went to the repave.
Yeah.
And I talked Colby into going with me. I was like, I found tickets for $50.
Yeah.
And they were like 75.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, we got to get the scanners too.
Yeah.
And we spent way more than we wanted to. But we went down the night before. His dad lived about an hour from the track. And
you telling this story?
I'm not telling that story
Okay.
now, but we got tore up playing pool with his dad at his house. And then we left the next. I was like, I want to leave at. You know me. I'm like, I want to leave at 7.
Yeah.
And
it's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I know.
Throwing
You guys
darts with
party.
my dad.
And,
Yeah.
So we ended up leaving at like 9:30.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
We're driving the track, and the whole time I'm like, we wasted the fucking day.
Yeah.
The day is over, and Colby's like, I can't exist. And that's not really the story, but that's another funny story. So we go to the fan zone, and we're in Atlanta, right? This is Chase Elliott territory. Everybody has a 9 hat on, and they were selling these hats. That was is actually kind of a cool hat, but it was a rope hat, and it had the number 9, and inside the number 9 was the Georgia state flag.
Oh,
Like
that
if
is
you're
kinda
from
cool.
Georgia,
People
that's
ate
cool.
it up.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, everybody.
They don't know better.
Everybody.
Yeah,
And
they
so
don't
of
know
course
better.
Yeah.
we go to the fan zone and we're just there hanging out, and they're like, yeah, next up is Chase Elliott. And Chase Elliott comes up on the stage. I mean, everybody just like,
Yeah, Chase.
and Colby goes, boo! Boo! And just is booing his ass off, and everybody turns around. Because, I mean, like, these people will kill you,
Yeah.
These are literally the people from Deliverance.
It was like 100 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people from Deliverance, not too far from Dawsonville, actually, where that movie was filmed. But they're, like, just staring at us. We're just like... Who was that?
Chase Elliott was on stage, and
Looked at
he's
him.
never heard a boo
Looked
in his
at him.
life. Literally looked at me in the eyes, and there was about a 10-second real life moment,
Yeah.
which is a real long time in
Yeah.
real life, of all these fans staring at me with just hate, and Chase Elliott staring at me.
He stopped this. He's like, yeah, I was flying my plane. What?
That's good.
we just
I said,
left.
we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we just left. But yeah, speaking of seeing drivers, we did see that one time. But all right, well, real quick, does anyone have a stupid question this week?
Colby?
Well, this is inspired by Joey Gase.
Okay.
So,
I think I might know where you're going.
Joey Gase threw a bumper at a driver after getting wrecked.
Yep.
So, if there's any driver that you could just see in real life and throw a bumper at, who would that be?
First one that comes to is probably Bubba Wallace.
Ooh, wow.
Why would you throw a bumper at Bubba Wallace?
You know why?
Why?
I don't-
Because Kyle Larson?
Because Bubba Wallace and what's his crew chief's name? Booty?
Booty.
Booty.
Booty. Because Booty couldn't get up out there, and he could not pick up that bumper.
Oh my god, dude. I thought it was gonna be bad and it got worse. Jesus.
But you're laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't know how to top that really. I'm gonna skip the obvious and say Corey LaJoy because I just want to see him get hit in the head. But I think if he got hit in
You're
the
throwing
head,
it at their car.
oh, at their car.
At their car. Yeah. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
Of
Yeah.
course not.
Right.
So I would want to throw it at somebody that I would want to see react.
That's
Like
fair. Yeah.
somebody that never gets mad. Chase Elliott's an obvious answer, but pick somebody like Chris Busher,
Oh,
like a real
okay.
wholesome guy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
What do I have to do to Chris Busher to make him fly off the fucking
Yeah. Yeah,
What
it's
is-
not a bumper. Is it a
Yeah.
tire?
Yeah,
Is
what is it
yeah.
gonna take? I'll start with
Yeah.
the bumper,
Yeah.
and but what do I have to throw at Chris Busher to make him just see red?
Yeah.
And what is he gonna do when he does he just go beat people's asses?
He's a
I
big
would
dude.
not want
He's a
Chris
big dude.
Busher coming at me.
He's
I
Texas,
mean, he's
Texas boy.
Yeah.
He could,
Yeah, he's not very
rip
tall.
off a bumper pretty good.
He's not very
Oh,
tall,
yeah.
but he's built.
Yeah, he's
Like
built.
he's got some
Solid
weight
built,
on him. Yeah.
He's like a little Ryan Newman Jr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quick follow-up question. Who do you think could not rip off a bumper?
Oh my God.
Like how
Ty
Joey
Gibbs.
Gase did?
Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs.
Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
Trying to speak.
Probably Ty Gibbs.
You know who
Yeah,
first
Ty
name
Gibbs.
came
He
to
could rip
mind?
off a
First
bumper.
name came to mind was Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon.
Oh,
could-
yeah.
Austin Dillon could not.
He
rip
couldn't
off
get
a
his
bumper.
hands
He
dirty.
ain't had a
Yeah.
fucking callus on his hand. His
No.
whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't even know what the bumper is. Is that the front or the back of the car?
He probably just blame it on his crew chief.
Yeah.
He got a new crew chief, by the way.
I saw
Yeah, did you
that.
see that? So,
That'll change everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
this is
sure.
his 6th crew chief change
Yeah.
in 11 seasons, and they're bringing back Justin Alexander. This is his 3rd time coming back,
Oh my gosh.
and I've been fighting with people on Twitter all day. They're like, "This will help Austin Dillon." I'm like, the only thing that can help the 3 car is if somebody else gets
Drives
it.
it.
It's a fucking
Yeah.
3 car.
Yeah.
Fuck
That's
off.
not a hot take either.
No, I
That's
didn't think
not a
so,
hot
but there was
take.
like 2 people that I had to argue with all day about it. But I'm still not giving my Twitter username out. We'll wait
Okay.
until we get a few more followers. What is your favorite Martinsville memory? And I know
You want me to start?
yeah, just
I
start
mean,
with yours and be
It's
quick.
easy. It's easy. It's when this number 1 car right here decided to run the wall.
Defied all finesse. of
And he
racing.
goes, whoa, and qualifies for the next round of the playoffs.
That was
I mean,
awesome. That was awesome.
That's the best memory.
I like to
I've
admit
ever had
a
in
complete lack
Martinsville.
of skill brought you into the playoff picture.
You got to get there.
All right, we'll just move on from that so I don't have a conniption fit. Colby, what is your favorite?
Mine's going to have to be when Denny Hamlin accidentally spun out Chase Elliott in
Fuck,
2017.
yeah.
Well, I think this is where a lot of Denny hate came from.
Yeah.
Because,
I'd say 90% of it.
yeah, because, I mean, Denny, overall, Toyota drivers have never really been the most liked. It's been Chevy.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, but when Denny wrecked Chase, I feel like that's when all those boos started.
Because Chase
I
still
liked
hadn't.
it.
Chase spent so many years. Let's see, he started in 2016 and made the playoffs and finished second like a million times.
Yeah.
2017 made the playoffs, finished second like a million times, and he would just get schooled by people.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing against him, he was new. It's kind of like Bubba now, where Bubba's like on the cusp of winning,
Yeah.
which he's already won, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in real race situations, he gets schooled because he doesn't have the experience. And Chase was the same way. He was going to win that race,
Yeah.
and then he just like,
Yeah.
no, not today, buddy. Yeah, that was a great moment. And the best part of that to me was so he wrecks him, right? And Denny didn't even win the race.
No, he didn't.
So he wrecks him. He gets on his radio immediately. He goes, "He checked up way early."
He probably did.
Which is the most Denny Hamlin
I mean,
shit.
Denny
That's
wouldn't
what I love.
lie.
And then
He's a father
Chase,
too.
Father and
He's a father
philanthropist.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then Chase like bumps into him afterwards. They get out, and Chase goes, "You wrecked me. You wrecked me." And evidently Denny told me, he was like, "There was a car pushing me into you." They show the replay. There's no car. There's no car at all, which I just think is fucking hilarious. But yeah, I think that's where all the Denny hate started.
Yes.
Because if you get into an argument with anybody on Twitter, if you're into that,
No way you could be.
yeah, not me. And if you get an argument on somebody about Denny, they're like, "What has Denny ever done? What has he ever done that's dirty?" You know, because that's what people always say. They're like, 2017 Martinsville Fall Playoff Race, and it's like, dude, fucking.
Is that where Chase flipped him off?
No, Chase flipped off Kyle Busch at Darlington. In
Gotcha.
2020.
Gotcha. Okay. 'Cause
Walked
there's a
onto
bunch
the-
of old road T-shirts.
Yeah,
got
Chase
sold
walked
from
onto
that.
a hot track.
Yeah.
Chase walked onto a hot track and flipped him off. No penalty. Joey Gase, $5,000 penalty. But
Yeah.
they don't play favorites.
Dawsonville.
Dawsonville.
Just
the pool room.
Just an every other day like you, every other day boy like
I
you.
wake up, put my pants on, and get my plane, just like everybody else.
after the airstrip that's named after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard growing up. Real quick, my favorite Martinsville memory. This is a race I remember watching vividly. It was 2007, the first year of the COT.
Okay.
So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when they first went to the COT, completely different car, they did a handful of races with the old car
Yeah.
and the rest with the COT.
Yeah.
So imagine like in 2022, if they did half the races with the next gen and half with the Gen 6.
We wouldn't know what was going
That's
on.
how weird it was.
Yeah.
But Martinsville was the COT, and Jimmy Johnson's leading, and Jeff Gordon's just beating his bumper off, and there's like 10 to go. Beating his bumper up, and not hard, but just like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think Jeff, in his mind, especially with him and Jimmy's relationship, kind of when it started souring, which they're fine now, but there was a time when they had a rivalry. He was like, I'm going to bump him and let him know I'm here. And in his mind, he's probably like, oh, Jimmy will get out of the way.
Yeah.
Jimmy's like, go fuck yourself. And he just wouldn't get out of the way. And they're playing Jeff Gordon's audio, like his radio at the time. He's like, he's going to make me do it. He's going to make me do it. And I was like, do it.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Do it. And so finally on the last lap, he beats him up, slides him up a groove. It was too late. And they're banging doors. And they like kind of drag race to the line. And Jimmy won.
Wow.
But, I mean, it was like teammates going after it.
Yeah.
But if it would have been anybody else, he probably would have put a little bit more. I mean, he worked him over for like 10 laps, and he was faster for sure. But he just wouldn't. He wouldn't move him.
Wow.
Like I said, he's like, he's gonna make me do it. It's like, do it. Just wreck him and win, please. Like, I don't know what else you need to do. But.
So where are we watching the race this weekend?
Probably at Mikasa.
You watching at home?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. We got a 3:30 start.
Probably.
Yeah.
Knowing NASCAR and how they do things, but.
All right.
Yeah. What about you? Gonna be at your house?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I'll be at my house. Are any of us gonna hang out? Or?
I don't know. That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
we could all
Okay.
watch
Where do we
shift in the corners.
Where do we want to watch the race?
Probably together. That'd be more fun. I mean, because I hate to say this, but I don't think Martinsville is going to be the most exciting race, just based off of what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
I hate to be that Debbie Downer.
Are you gonna make that juice again?
I could.
If you make that juice again, I'll be wherever you want me to be.
Okay.
If you make that juice, I guess I'll cook because I know none of y'all are offering, but
we weren't.
So I'll just do what I always do.
I mean, but you're like the best cook out of all of us.
I know, but
So-
here's what happens
It
when
helps when you have an off-brand Traeger.
Here's what happens. Everyone comes over. I cook amazing food. We have a great time, and then they shit on my TV for.
You have to get a.
Yeah, your TV's so
for the
small.
viewers at home.
Hey,
the
you see
that
this
you
TV?
see
You see this
is
TV
about
right
that
here?
size.
Austin's is like a DVD player compared to this thing. It is embarrassing.
You know the flip down on a Tahoe.
Yeah. That's what
That's
Austin's.
nice.
Everybody
TV
gets
is.
in real close, like in
Yeah.
the old days when your grandparents
Yeah.
would listen to the radio.
See my iPhone 13 mini? It's got Lightning McQueen
Lightning
on it
McQueen
right
in the
here.
background.
It could actually be the size of Austin's TV.
Yeah. But I bet
mean-
you motherfuckers come over and watch it anyway. So we'll leave it there.
As long as you're cooking,
Yeah.
yeah. Over there, yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there. Good episode, guys. I appreciate you coming, Colby. And
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Hey,
do it again.
like, subscribe, comment, please. Let us know what you think. We're trying to get better with the audio. We're trying to keep them shorter. I know it didn't turn out that way, but hey, we'll be back next week, episode 9. Stay tuned. Thank y'all.
Boats floating on a southbound breeze, somewhere between heaven and the tall pine trees. Hard land, I'm missing you. Guitar playing through the night, it felt pretty good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Good as one for the price of two. It's been a long time gone since the truth's been